Hello and welcome back to new Rockstars. The mid-season update for Marvel Rivals is finally here and I'm so excited to play with everyone. I got to play a little bit early and let me tell you, I love Ben Grimm. The Thing is one of my favorite new characters and I'm about to be a tank. I'm going to be taking you through the wonders of the new map added to Marvel Rivals, the new fantastic characters and their incredible new skins. I'll point out a little bit of those details and Easter eggs in Dracula's castle and also in the suits because the details to this game is insane. So let's get into it. For those of you new to the gaming world, just new to Marvel Rivals, let me make this super brief. Okay, so Marvel Rivals is a 6v6 player shooter game where you can play as one of the 33 dynamic Marvel heroes, now 37. You might have seen these characters on the big screen or in the comics, but in Marvel Rivals and their new mid-season drop, you can take the battle now to Dracula's castle in Central Park. Season 0, Doom's Rise, followed 2 Dr. Doom stressing us all out, and now, like Marvel Rivals announced, the time stream entanglement swept over New York City. Dracula seized the opportunity with Dr. Doom's gifts, stopping the moon and declaring an eternal night with the power of Chronovium. Chronovium is the crystals full of like cosmic energy that Galacta eats in the game, so she's not like her dad just eating planets. It's created from the time stream entanglement, and honestly, it's precious cargo that Doom's just toying with. Regardless, now it's an endless war, endless night, with endless vampiric creatures overrunning the city, with our need to help stop Dracula's ritual, which we're experiencing as the new Convergence map. The new title of the map, Empire of Eternal Night, is Central Park, and this one takes you through crushed fallen debris to Dracula's castle. First and foremost, again, I was lucky enough to play this game a little bit early, and this map is pretty sick. Not only are there millions of places for me to hide, but it feels very linear, and don't get me wrong, you'll get lost a bit at the beginning of this map because there's so much rooms and so many walls to hide behind, but you know, every hidden room and gem is worth getting lost in. If you choose a character that flies, I think you're in a better advantage overall. There are a lot of walls to hide behind, and you get a better view if you're aerial. You just see where everyone is on the map. Depending on your side, attacking or defending, you begin at one of 2 points. The cemetery, where you must get the Montesi formula off Ratatoskr before it gets to Dracula, preventing Ratatoskr from being rescued, or at Squirrel Girl's hideout and home, where you must enter Dracula's castle, stopping his final ritual, which involves rescuing the sealed Ratatoskr. The Ratatoskr is an Asgardian god, and it was first introduced in the unbeatable Squirrel Girl in 2015, issue number 7 and 8. Ratatoskr is an Asgardian beast in the form of a giant squirrel, but I think she can turn into a lot of other things, but I like her as a squirrel, and I think everyone sees her as the squirrel. In the game, you can talk to the ancient being, and she's perfect. I love her dynamic with Squirrel Girl and everyone else. We also learned from the game's loading screen with Squirrel Girl and Mr. Fantastic, this is her new ally, and Dracula set up shop in Central Park where Squirrel Girl lives with all her squirrely pals, so she's definitely about kicking him out of here. Ratatoskr has been captured and imprisoned by Dracula in Central Park, so she must be a huge threat to Dracula overall. We do know from the mission objective that she holds the Montesi formula, and this is an incantation from the Darkhold that is capable of destroying all vampires. It was first explored in Dracula Lives, issue number 6, released in 1974. At Squirrel Girl's home, there are wooden logs that lead you to her courtyard with little acorns all over the place, and directly in the center is her Squirrel-a-Gig, which is also featured in the comics. Inside the home, it's super cozy. You can see little squirrel dolls and her own plushies. On the cabinet, she has graffiti of what I think is herself. This could be her Boogie Time skin. The red glasses and the gold-like hoop earrings and the red lipstick makes me think so. She also has graffiti we see later of the little acorn that's her sigil in the game. There's a box at her table, though, with a little figurine of herself, Dr. Strange, and Blade. And we see between them is a box set for the Tomb of Dracula. The Tomb of Dracula was the first appearance of Castle Dracula in the comic books of the same title in 1972. And yes, Blade does appear in this game, though not as a playable character yet. And if you die at the second checkpoint to stop Dracula's final ritual, you'll appear in a room with Blade restrained and captured. So Dracula's now got 2 people subdued, and they both must be big threats, Blade and Ratatoskr. These 3 characters are big players to the new location. Central Park is where Squirrel Girl is, and she's working with Reed to stop Dracula, who is featured heavily in the Midtown Convoy map. Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum map is the last refuge during the Eternal Night. Overall, it seems as though Blade, though, is the key to stopping all of this. On the event's mission page, we know Blade, Vampire Slayer, has gone missing. A fun touch is that this is the Daily Bugle newspaper, and you know the Daily Bugle, it's from Spider-Man. The event page note says, if you have any information on this person's current whereabouts, please alert his next of kin, Brielle Brooks. Bloodline, aka Brielle Brooks, is Blade's daughter from the comics, and we'll get into the importance of her and Blade and all of this shortly. If you die at the first checkpoint stopping Dracula's final ritual, you'll return to this room, and I assume this would be how Dracula releases his vampire creatures upon everyone, working in tandem with that dang book he's got. Though it also reinforces just how many secrets lie within Dracula's castle, and I go through a lot of it here, but I'm sure there's still a bunch of artifacts I missed. Speaking of wild artifacts, deeper into Dracula's castle, you find the statue of Bloodstorm, and nothing says Dracula's castle like a million self-portraits and statues of himself. One portrait at the end you see is with him and Shikla, an ancient succubus, but also wife to Vlad Dracula. She's also a comic character. At this last checkpoint, that's when you see Dracula floating above his own coffin. Although Dracula throughout his own stories, histories, and comics has used many coffins, there's always one special one, and this one is directly beneath him. The biggest takeaways in this map are definitely Blade being captured, Bloodstorm's like statue, and Dracula overall. This coincides with Blade's daughter, as I mentioned earlier, and a bigger story features most of these characters, and that's in Jed McKay's and Pepe Larraz's 2024 Blood Hunt. In Blood Hunt, the comic, the vampires start terrorizing the world, and the Blood Coven, a group of supreme vampires led by Bloodstorm, take out the Avengers, and Blade is sort of corrupted and running an old faction of vampires referred to as the Structure, and wants vampires to just take over the world. In all of this, Blade's daughter is basically told she's the only one who can take her father down, and she must track him and find him to do it, and she becomes a really big part of the comic storyline. Is there a lot more to that comic story? Absolutely. It also preludes with many tie-in comics with Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and another Blade story. Do I think it's 100% happening in this game like it did in the comics? Absolutely not. I agree with the masses that Blade will probably be freed and be a playable character by the end of this season, but I wanted to note the comics where you probably saw Bloodstorm from, where we saw a similar overall story play out, and how small the details like Blade's daughter and the spells just came to be. In the end, if the attacking team wins, Squirrel Girl kills Dracula, and if the defending team wins, Moon Knight aided by Iron Man kills all vampires in New York, which would probably also kill Blade, so I don't think we're really rooting for them. Along with the new map and an incredible lineup of 37 characters, we've got 2 characters that are new in that 37, that's Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm. Vanguard Benjamin J. Grimm comes with the classic Fantastic Four shorts, no boots, no shirt, no problem. A look not far off from one of his many comic depictions. You can also buy his trench coat bundle, the Noir Scars MVP look I'm referring to. This, I assume, is designed after most of Ben Grimm's disguises or looks that we've seen in the comics and even in the movies. With the trench coat look, it says, "I'm sorry, mister, I just don't carry anything big enough to fit a man your size." And this comes from the first Fantastic Four comics in which Ben is wearing the infamous trench coat look. However, I will add that the comic cover for Fantastic Four Grimm Noir is really a good reflection of this Ben Grimm in the rain. The thing in my quick playthrough works a lot like Hulk and Wolverine does. The difficulty is at a 1 star, and I think he's one of the easier, if not like the better Vanguards to play. However, I will also say I'm biased because I'm gonna make this guy my main. I love playing as Ben Grimm. His powers are just so much fun. Also, his emotes are very funny. His team up abilities work with the Fantastic Four, of course, but also Wolverine, Hulk, and Thing can interact. Hulk and Thing can lift Wolverine and hurl him forward, which you know I'm gonna do all the time. It also looks like Venom's ultimate, Penny's, and Squirrel Girl's doesn't really move Ben. Spider-Man fails to web him in his ultimate, and Jeff's ultimate, once used, just spits him out, just drops him in the position he's already at. Ben's charging move seems to be able to push through most ultimates, and truly, he may be an unmovable object. Y'all need to get him while he's hot. With Johnny Storm, the Duelist, level 3 difficulty, his skins are super cool, and you can get the Negative Zone Gladiator skin. In Fantastic Four issue number 600, released in 1998, Johnny comes to in the Negative Zone, where he has to fight to come back to life, like Gladiator style, and it's in this suit. It says, "Do you want to be a slave to fate or a servant to your eventual demise? Or do you want new rules or a new life? Everything dies." No, everything. These are the words that are repeated before Johnny really goes off in the same comic, and then he says, "Everything lives." His third outfit is the first family traditional outfit. The quote says, "Just wait and see, sister, the Fantastic Four have only begun to fight," and this comes from their 1961 cover. His team-up abilities will include Omega Fire, which he can activate with Storm, and of course, when his sister uses Psionic Might, they generate bonus health. If you haven't yet, you can still play. It's never too late. Marvel Rivals Season 1.5 is completely free to play. Check the link in the description below. You can join now with all the heroes available right from the jump, available on all platforms with cross-platform playing built right into this bad boy. And I'm serious, this new map is very fun. As a Wanda and Moon Knight main myself, this map is great for my surprise attacks, though I think if you're an Iron Man or a Johnny Storm or just a Storm main, you probably have the best advantage, but that's just me. Follow me at Lulu_Clemons and subscribe to all of our channels in the new Rockstars network for all those deep analysis, those breakdowns that you can't get enough of. Check out the break room where we play and chat video games all the time. See you guys later, and remember, Squirrel Stampede!